Welcome to Evolving Women, where we talk real invention, purpose in midlife, and what it means to rise into who you were always meant to be. I'm Teresa Lisum, and today's conversation is one more reminder. It's never too late to rewrite your story. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Evolving Women. I'm Teresa Lisum, and I'm here with my guest co-host today, Susan Slows. Hi, Susan.
Hi.
Thanks so much for being here. Susan is a women's gut health coach, and she specializes in IBS, which is a very specific digestive issue. And I personally think we don't learn enough about digestion in any area, at any point in time in our life. And I know I've learned a lot in the last couple of years how important it is. So how did you come into this information and this knowledge, Susan?
Well, for as long as I could remember, I always had trouble with my gut, with my bowel, since I was probably a teenager, maybe longer than that. I know my mother told me I was a baby that cried a lot. Maybe I had
Mm,
it back then. Nobody
right.
knows. And no doctor was ever able to find anything wrong with me. So they kind of slapped spastic colon on me, which is what irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, used to be called in the old
Oh,
days. Right. It's the
hmm.
same. They don't call it that anymore.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So, after going back and forth, sometimes it would be dormant for months and months, and then it would rear its ugly head again. And I decided to go back and study and get a certificate in health coaching. And I decided to specialize in this niche for women because I know there are thousands of women out there that are suffering and they don't know what to do. They don't have
Right.
a plan made just for them. This is
Hmm.
very, very specific. What works for one person may not work for somebody else.
Correct. Right. And
So,
I think that's the case for any modality that we come across. There's no cookie cutter, one size fits all.
exactly.
And if somebody tries to fit you in that mold, look for somebody else.
That's exactly right. There's no mold here.
Hmm.
Everybody's individual.
Right.
So I was able to help myself so well that I decided why not start an online business for women specifically with this condition.
Hmm.
And I know a lot of women don't, are not sure if they have the condition. I don't diagnose, that's what a doctor does. But I decided to help women with this, and that's what got me into it.
I think I've learning over the last couple of years that I've been doing this. We all seem to solve something for ourselves or find a solution that works for us, and we want to share that with others and help them go through it a little bit quicker than we did, give them some insights and wisdom that we didn't have when we were going through that
Right.
journey. So I love that so many of us just want to serve and help others feel better.
Yeah, and because I have experienced and sometimes still do on occasion, because there is no cure for this as to date. So
Mm-hmm.
um, I know how it feels, so I can be very empathetic with people.
So it's basically, it sounds like it's a maintenance thing, or you're just maintaining and managing, I guess is the word.
Well,
The
you can make it go into the background of your life. I hate to use the words in remission because that's very
Mhm.
associated with cancer, and this has nothing to do with that.
Mm-hmm. Good
And
point.
this also does not cause cancer, which is something that a lot of people think it does, but it doesn't.
Mhm.
And yeah, I just want to help people to feel better and be able to go out of the house without worrying that they have to map out every bathroom at their destination. That they can get
Mhm.
on a plane, a train, a bus, in a car, and not have to say, "Uh-oh, I need to
Yeah.
find a bathroom."
Yeah. That's a big deal. I love that you are helping women like live a good quality of life without being restricted to their
Right,
house or their family
right.
members' houses, like, oh, with that fear factor of being afraid to go out into
Right.
public.
Right. And you know, I try not to get into a lot of detail here, but this is important. I've also talked to people and have clients that have said, I can't go to the bathroom every day, or I haven't gone to the bathroom in 3 or 4 days. What should I do? That's the other end of the spectrum. So
Mm-hmm.
everybody's different. There's different types of IBS.
Mm-hmm. And I'm glad you said that because I get the impression it's all like one big umbrella category. And you're suggesting that no, it's all these variations underneath that umbrella of IBS.
There is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I have a family member. She refers to hers as IBS, but is it, or is it just this her version,
Yeah,
of this digestive issue? And
right.
they just call it by this overarching, label.
Well, right. Well, what a good gastroenterologist will do is they will test you for everything else it can't be. It's an elimination diagnosis
Oh,
because a lot of the symptoms mimic other conditions. So that's why it's very important for the first thing that a woman will do, and I always tell them this is see your doctor first.
mm, so they can go through that process of elimination with you
Right,
and get it narrowed down into something more specific for you.
right.
That's good advice. So I say I'm a person, I just went to my doctor. He or she helped me kind of clarify what's happening. And then I could come to you and you would help me what?
Well, I can work in conjunction with your doctor if you wanted me to do that, but if you don't, that's okay too. I can spend a lot more time with you than a doctor can.
Mm-hmm.
They have what, a 7 to 10 minute limit per patient
Yeah,
because they're
yeah.
so overwhelmed, it's not really
Mm-hmm.
their fault. So,
Right, right.
um, I ask you a lot of questions. I'm your guide. I'm your
Mm,
facilitator.
like that.
So this is client led. I don't tell you do this, 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 and that. I don't give you a list. Try this, that, and the other thing. I ask you a lot of questions to see where you are, and I meet you right at that point.
Mm-hmm.
You could be somebody that says, I have no idea what this is. So that person I'll tell will go see your doctor first.
Mm-hmm.
I'll ask them what their symptoms are, and then I could have somebody, well, I went to the doctor, they can't find anything. They said I have IBS. What do I
Mm-hmm.
do? And then I'll ask them specific questions about what's going on with their gut, their eating habits, their sleep. Um, do they get any exercise? Do they stay hydrated? And these four pillars are things that every coach covers, but the way I cover them is specific to irritable bowel syndrome and the individual.
Mm,
So it's not a big umbrella that everybody falls under.
wow. You mentioned sleep. How does that play into this?
Well, a lot of it depends on what kind of sleep you get. Is it quality sleep? Is IBS waking you up in the middle of the night with some kind
Mm,
of abdominal pain, gas, urgent need to use the bathroom, or unable to go to the bathroom to relieve it? IBS very often is relieved by a bowel movement. Hope I'm allowed to say bowel
mm.
movement
No,
here.
you can say whatever you want.
Okay. Okay. I know. That's what I talk about. I talk about bowel movements, intestines, the stomach, and how all of this is related. This is all related to your brain too. I'm sure you've heard of the gut-brain connection.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And so sleep, yeah, sleep is very important. I don't can't count the number of times in past years I've been woken up in the middle of the night by pain.
wow, wow. And I love that you asked if you could talk about that. Maybe this is something that does need more conversation around. I mean, we all have to have this process of elimination physically. It maintains our health. We can't get backed up. We know the effects of that, not just in symptoms, but in how it affects the rest of the body. So it is worth a conversation because people might be embarrassed to even bring it up.
They are that there's a lot of stigma associated with this and shame for people
Mm,
that have had a bathroom accident in public.
mm.
in front of family members who do not understand. I've been through that myself. Family
Mm,
members who'll say, "What's wrong with you? Why is
mm.
this happening?" They make you feel even worse than you already do.
Oh, right.
So that shame needs to go away. I mean, there's no
Mm,
shame in this. This is a medical condition.
I love that. No shame, no shaming yourself for sure.
That's right. And don't let other
Um,
people do it either.
right. Oh man, that's huge. That is huge. So there's so many nuances and layers to this, it sounds like. You said sleep, your eating habits, your hydration. You mentioned another one. I can't remember what it was.
It was moving your body and
Oh yeah,
exercise.
movement,
And we're not,
movement.
when we say that, we're not saying you have to join a gym or do any kind of high impact anything. These are, and I know everybody uses this phrase, small changes
Mm-hmm.
can have
Mm-hmm.
big results.
Yeah.
And this is not a quick fix either. This is over time. And I like to
Mm,
emphasize that anybody that wants a quick fix and says, tell me what to do, is not going to be my ideal client.
mm. So you're catering to someone who is patient enough to have that long-term
Hmm.
way of approaching it. Therefore, in my thoughts, it would pay off in a long-term end result. Whereas if you want to fast, quick, take something, take a prescription, blah, 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 address the symptoms, get rid of those.
Right.
Whereas you're talking, get to the root cause of it and
Right. And
look at
I'm,
these other
oh,
pieces.
sorry.
No, that's okay.
Yeah. I'm not allowed to diagnose, cure, prescribe any of those things. And I have a disclaimer about that
Hmm.
because I am not a medical doctor. I didn't
Yeah.
go to medical school. So, yeah, it's, if you're wanting something quick, like I said, it's probably going to be very short term for you. It's not going to
Hmm.
give you lasting results, is I guess what I'm getting at here.
Right, right.
Right. And there are things, yeah, and people do get impatient, there are things that I can help you with to do that will make you feel better quicker, but you want to be able to maintain and have sustainability where you don't keep having flares.
Okay. So it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, if someone presents with symptoms, pain, they want those symptoms to be addressed quickly between you and their doctor. Possibly those symptoms could be addressed quickly, but yet you're still going to help them over that long term. Am I right there?
Right,
Okay.
exactly. That's exactly perfectly phrased.
Mm. So it's not like you're dismissing those immediate acute things happening
Right,
and saying, ah, we'll get to them, but you can do
right,
both basically at the same time.
right.
Well, not
Well,
you,
one,
I'm
yeah,
saying in general.
one thing I run into talking to people, whether they become a client or not, is eating habits. If you are scrolling through your phone, you're sitting at your desk at work and eating lunch at your desk, which so many people do. I've been
Oh,
guilty of it myself. Yes.
I've
I'm
done
not
that.
perfect either. I don't do it anymore.
Mm,
Not since I work for myself now. I've been retired, for 6 years
hmm.
from my previous career. But if you're doing that, or you're in the kitchen at home cooking and you're eating out of the pot and you're talking on the phone or doing something else, or you're at the counter and shoveling it in like it's your last meal,
Yes.
I almost can guarantee you're going to have a flare.
Oh, wow. So there's that element of mindfulness that we're missing, I think, in our society in general, because we do things on the run like that. Like we don't take the time to stop and focus on what we're doing, eating, taking in that food with maybe appreciation and gratitude and enjoying it, not just shoveling it in because we got to get to something else that's more
Right.
important.
And most people, when they do that, they don't even taste their food.
Oh,
They
yes.
don't
Oh, I'm
chew it
sure.
long enough
I am
for it to be
sure.
a paste where it goes down into your stomach, and your stomach, it says, whoa, what is
Mm.
this? and it has a lot
Mm.
of trouble processing it with your enzymes. So if you're being, I'm glad you used the word mindfulness because that was what I was my next point here. It's the way the French eat. It's the French lifestyle, which is a thing of mine. I love the French lifestyle. They're very mindful about their food. They'll sit and eat in a cafe for over 2 hours because you
Mm-hmm.
can,
Yeah.
and really taste their food, look at it, uh, how beautiful it is on the
Mm-hmm.
plate. And when they
Mm-hmm.
serve it at home, it's the presentation. How do you put it on your plate? What does it look like? Those are things I work with clients too. When you serve yourself, really, really enjoy that meal.
Yes, definitely something. I mean, I think we probably do it sometimes, but definitely not 100% of the time.
Oh, no, no.
It's just, and it's something that we need to really come back to, in our day and time and where we're at in terms of our society. Go, 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 fast, 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 busy, busy, busy.
We're too much in a hurry with everything.
Exactly, exactly. I definitely have family members that I can visualize what they're doing and how they're eating. I'd love for you to come back to those digestive enzymes. Can you speak to them a little bit, please? I know how important they are. I didn't know that up until, within the last couple of years. And again, something we don't really learn about. At least I didn't.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I didn't go to med school, so I don't have the knowledge that a doctor would have about that.
Mm-hmm.
But your digestive enzymes are the things that are breaking down your food. So if you're sending food into your stomach pretty much whole or barely
Mm-hmm.
chewed, those enzymes are going to work a lot harder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think as we age, we lose digestive enzymes as the aging process moves forward, if I understand that correctly.
Yeah,
So it's a good,
that I'm not sure about whether your digestion slows down a bit, but I would have to do a little more research on that.
hmm
I'm not ashamed to say I don't know or I need to do some more research.
that's good. Because we can't all know everything, can we?
That's right.
We can't all know everything. I'm just delighted that you are showing women options that they have. You know, being able to look at all the different pieces to this puzzle and then have a guide such as yourself to help them work through and create a plan
Hmm.
that's personal to them that they can move forward into the future with some confidence.
Right. And people have also said to me, well, I'll just keep taking my Pepto-Bismol or my
Mhm.
Metamucil or my probiotics, prebiotics. And I'm not saying those things are bad. They're very effective. Yes. I'm not saying don't do this or it's
Mhm,
bad or
mhm,
yeah, do those things. However, it's not enough.
mm.
It's a short-term solution.
Right, right. It's like a band-aid being
It's
thrown on.
exactly. Those are not bad things at all, and they do help many, many people.
Mm-hmm.
And if you find the right probiotics, the right prebiotics, if you have if the Pepto-Bismol, the Metamucil is very, very effective for people who don't have regular bowel movements. Yes. So it's not a bad thing. I'm just saying it's can be in conjunction with coaching
Mm-hmm.
to show you the right order of things in your body.
Mm.
Put the things you should do in the right order.
Love that. I've never heard anything referred to that way. Do it in the right order.
Yes.
Um, Instead of dumping it all in and not figuring out, well, which one worked. I'm guilty of that. I'll try a bunch of different things, not really knowing.
It's how are you going to know?
Exactly. I couldn't tease apart. Well, like, what was it? What was the one piece that helped? Like, I don't know. So yeah,
Yeah.
that makes perfect sense to
Yeah.
do it one step at a time in the proper order.
Right. And the other thing I recommend early on in coaching with clients is to keep a journal, not just for
Love that.
not just for food, to see patterns. Like,
Mm,
okay, so what time did you eat? What were you doing while you were eating?
mm,
What did you eat? And how did you feel after it? You can do that with your whatever, if you're taking whether it's a prescription medication from the doctor or an over-the-counter thing. How do you feel? When are you taking it? How do you feel after it? Is it doing what it's supposed to do? You can keep track
Mm,
of that in your journal too, because if it isn't working, why keep taking it?
right. Oh, I love that. And I'm sure it could be very subtle, is the things that are happening. So I know I kept a food journal a couple of times, and it's again makes me feel very attuned to what's happening and what I am putting in my mouth. And
Mhm.
I love that you're suggesting, pay attention to how you feel afterward, because we can be very disconnected to how we feel in our bodies.
Right. And what's also important there is to write down what were you also doing while you were eating. And we talked about that a little bit
Hmm.
earlier here
Hmm.
about, were you on your phone? Were you on a business call? Were you going through paperwork? Whatever you were doing, that is affecting your digestion
Mm.
because your brain is focused on that.
It would almost be interesting to run like an experiment on yourself and with your journal. Okay, this was the meal where I was on my phone in front of my computer,
Yeah,
whatever. And this is how I felt afterward. And then a couple days later or whatever, this is how I felt
right.
when I was sitting there attentively, mindfully focused on my food and engaging in that delightful conversation, or something like
Right.
that. It would be so interesting to see
Mhm.
how
Oh,
those
that's
two
a good
were
idea. And
compared.
I'm not bashing anybody that's doing these things or has done these things because we've all done it. I've done it
Hmm.
myself.
Oh, yeah.
I used to have bosses when I worked for other people that said, you know, you got to work through lunch.
Mm, wow.
And me, like an idiot, did it.
And we wonder why there's so much stress in the workplace, huh?
Yeah.
If they're getting messages like that. Can you speak to the brain gut connection? That was something when I learned about that. I mean, I don't fully understand it, I will admit,
Mhm.
but that is again something that we need to hear more about.
Yeah.
So if you want to
Well,
speak to anything in that
yeah.
around
Well,
that topic.
it's the vagus nerve, VAGUS.
Hmm.
And if you're anxious, if you're stressed, stress doesn't cause IBS, but it's definitely can be a contributing factor.
That's good to know.
Your brain and your gut send signals to one another. So when it's working correctly, it's like a good internet connection.
Mm. Love that. We can all understand that.
Yes, that's why I like to use that because everybody knows how the internet works.
Hmm.
Now,
Hmm.
if it's not working correctly, it's going in and out. It's not
Hmm.
speaking. It's not speaking the gut's language. The gut isn't speaking the brain's language, and they don't know what they're saying to each other.
Hmm.
It's like your Wi-Fi going in and out.
Wow. And again, we all
That's
can relate to
that's
that.
the best way I can explain it without getting too technical or
Hmm.
scientific, because then people are going to kind of zone out on.
Right, right. No, that's good. But that's interesting that you said that stress doesn't cause IBS. It
No, but
just
it's definitely
contributes to it. But
yes. So if you already have IBS, stress can be a trigger.
hmm.
It's like pulling the trigger on a gun, so to speak. That's why
Hmm.
I use the word trigger.
Hmm.
I mean, that can be a trigger. Too much high impact exercise can sometimes be a trigger also. Like if you've
Really?
done something really high impact and then you don't feel well after it, especially if you've eaten before you've done that, that could be a trigger as well. It depends
Hmm.
on the person. It might not be with everybody.
Which again, this is where the journaling would come into play.
Yeah.
Paying attention to that.
Hmm.
Okay, I ate, I worked out. Ooh, I had some symptoms.
Hmm.
Then you could kind of connect the dots.
Hmm.
Oh, I didn't eat, I worked out. How did I feel?
Right.
So that would all come out in that journal, as you said, looking and seeing those patterns over time.
Right. So when your brain and your gut are speaking to each other, you're going to have smooth speaking to each other in the right way. Your digestion is going to be smooth.
Mm,
You're chewing it and you're sending it down there, and your stomach is saying, ah, yeah, this is at the right consistency. Then
mm,
the stomach does its job, and then it sends it down into your intestines,
mm.
your small intestine, and then and it does what it does there. It takes out your
Uh-huh.
nutrients, and then it sends the waste into your large intestine, where it's expelled from your body in the right way.
Mm. Again, we don't think about the process. We really don't. At least I don't. Um, I'd like to get back to the vagus nerve if you can speak to anything about that. Again, it's not something we know a lot about, but I think it's coming more into people have heard about it more than they have in the past. Growing up or as a young adult, I've never heard of that.
I never did either.
It was not something if somebody would have told me that, I would have no clue what they were talking
I
about.
don't think people knew a lot about it back then.
Mhm. But I know
So,
it's really an important piece of our entire body, an important part.
yeah. Would you mind if I pull up my notes on that? I have
Feel
notes.
free. Please go ahead.
Yeah, for something like this, I don't like to, yeah, I like to have something in front of me. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do here.
While you're doing that, I wanted to mention that somebody years ago, I think she was a Chinese medicine practitioner, and
Hmm.
she was saying that your stomach doesn't have teeth. So you have to kind of remember that. Like
That's very
when you're
good.
talking about chewing it
Uh-huh.
properly, it being the right consistency, not surprising your stomach with the big old chunks of stuff.
No, it should be a
But
paste, an easy to
yeah.
swallow paste, because you've got your esophagus first there. When it goes from your mouth to your esophagus, if it's too big, you're going to choke on it.
Hmm. And that's why the digestive process actually starts here,
It
in our
does. It starts
mouth,
in the
because we
mouth.
got that saliva
You got
going
your
on.
enzymes there too.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I pulled up my notes, and is it okay if I read this
Sure,
here?
please.
Okay, so this is the science for people that want to know this. The vagus nerve is crucial for the gut-brain axis, acting as a two-way highway for signals controlling digestion, stress, and inflammation. And when it's dysfunctional, it's strongly linked to irritable bowel syndrome, IBS.
Mm.
So when it doesn't work correctly, the nerve misinterprets signals, leading to IBS symptoms like pain, bloating, diarrhea, and or constipation, often worsened by stress. As I told you, it could be a
Mm-hmm.
trigger. So then there are methods you can use to help with this, to calm the vagus nerve,
Mm-hmm.
like deep breathing, cold exposure, which is not for everybody, by the
Right.
way.
Not for
Not
me, I know
everybody's going to do a cold
that.
plunge, and especially older people. No, it's not a
Hmm.
good thing for everyone. A cool shower could do that, where the water's not ice cold. You can have it cool. Meditation and even specialized vagus nerve stimulation, like some people will say singing or humming
Hmm.
or
Yes, I've heard
dancing
that.
will do this. I've
Yes,
heard a
yeah.
lot about that. Um, and so what you want to do is reduce that inflammation and improve your symptoms by promoting relaxation and better gut-brain communication. And
Yeah,
there's a
thank
lot more
you.
here about that.
Oh,
I don't know how far in you want to
no,
get.
I'm sure that there's a lot. Like I
There's a
said,
lot.
I just know the tip of the iceberg about vagal nerve,
Hmm.
keeping
That's the
it
tip of the iceberg there. There's so much more
exactly.
science.
And people could definitely go look it up. I know there's people out there showing different techniques, how to, keep it healthy. I don't even know how you reference that, but
Hmm.
there was that reference to the two-way highway, the two-way
It's a two-way highway
communication.
is what it is.
It's like a communication field, like
Right.
it's. And
Right.
if I imagine how it looks, which I've seen pictures of, it's like a branch or roots, and I mean it just
Mhm.
goes all over
Oh,
our
it
body.
does. Well, abdominal pain and bloating, IBS is all triggered by inflammation. It's inflammation in
Hmm.
the body, just like arthritis and all other conditions that people have.
Mm.
all inflammation in
Wow.
the body. And inflammation, when people hear that a lot of time, they think about, like when you sprained your wrist and it swells up. Yeah, that's
Hmm.
inflammation. So this is a different kind of inflammation. It's in the gut.
Right. This is an internal
Right,
inside where we really can't get to it or see it.
right.
But
So, and there could be altered motility now, when motility means how your gut is moving, how everything's moving through your gut.
oh,
So modal, movement.
I've
Okay,
never
so that
really
nerve
heard that.
controls that movement as well. And so when it doesn't work correctly, if it's going too fast, a lot of people will get diarrhea. If it's too slow, they get constipation. Sometimes it's
Hmm.
somewhere in between, which is where it's supposed to be, where you're not getting either one. You have a
Mm, right, right,
smooth,
right, right.
smooth bowel movement.
Hmm. Which we all have had that experience of one extreme or the other.
Yes.
And so we know what they feel like, and we know when it's just right. So
We
I
want
can
it just right, like
get
Goldilocks in her
Goldilocks, right?
porridge.
And it does affect people's quality of life for sure. So I'm just so thrilled that you are helping women to get a handle on it, get an understanding around it, get a plan created that they can use for themselves so they can,
Yeah.
their life can be expansive and a great quality of life, not
Yeah.
restricted by this.
Right. And I just had a post on LinkedIn and I put it on Facebook and Instagram as well, exactly about that. And it's a talking head video where I'm actually speaking about that. It's very short, that people are trying to help themselves with this condition without a clear plan.
Yeah, a clear plan
That
is
is where
huge.
I come in, the clear plan.
Hmm.
And it's not a plan I make up. We make it up together with me as a
I
guide.
love that.
So
I
the
love that.
client is actually making the plan themselves that's right for them.
So you're not there dictating again
No,
a
I'm not,
cookie
I
cutter
don't
plan.
dictate at
Yes,
all. I
yes.
ask a lot of questions. I do a lot less talking than the client does. I do a lot of
Mhm.
listening.
Yeah, I love that. That that's definitely maybe a different experience someone might get somewhere else. Like you said, the time frame being short, depending on the practitioner you go to. But it's really important to have that relationship and that conversation so that a practitioner, a guide such as yourself, can really get
Right.
an understanding on your life, what's happening for you, what you want your life to look like. Like, here it is now. This is what I want it to look like. And you help them figure out a step-by-step plan to get there.
Mhm.
Love that. So thank you so much for being there for women
Oh, you're
that
welcome.
may have so
It's
many
my pleasure, and
questions.
I love what I do. I love
Mm,
to pay this forward and help other people.
mm,
And I chose this because it's something I've experienced myself. I don't think I would be as good at it if I had never experienced it. And I said, "Oh,
right,
I'll just
right.
pick this," but I have no idea what it feels like. It wouldn't work.
And I so applaud women such as yourself. You could be, you had your prior career. You could be just relaxing and, doing your thing, but instead you've chosen to be of service to other women and help them get to the point where they feel the best and better version of themselves. And so thank you so much for being that person. We so appreciate you
Yeah.
wanting to serve women in that way.
Well, yeah, I love being that person. And I offer people several different programs they can take advantage of.
Well, thank you. And if I wanted to take advantage of one of those programs, how could I connect with you?
Well, I don't know if I can put stuff in the show notes here.
Yes, we will certainly do that. We
Okay.
will, with this just with this video, this recording, we will put connection links or however you want
Right.
people to reach
Well,
out. But typically, where do you hang out at where
I
they
hang out on LinkedIn, a little bit on Facebook and on Instagram, but LinkedIn is where I'm at the most. People can also email me at my business email if they like. It's slowsusan@gmail.com.
Okay. And again, that will be in the notes with this conversation. And if our listeners found this conversation to be beneficial and helpful, and you know someone who can benefit from hearing this conversation, please share this recording, share this episode with them.
Yes.
And I so thank you, Susan, for being here. I appreciate you taking out some of your time and sharing your expertise, your knowledge, your desire to help. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for listening in. And connect with Susan if you or you know somebody who is dealing with this. We
And
want
thank you
your
for having me as a
oh,
guest on your podcast
my
today.
pleasure. Thank you so much, Susan. Thank you, everybody, for listening. You know the routine. Subscribe, share. We'd love to hear a comment from you. So if you have a comment you want to make, we'd love for that to happen as well. So
And I'd be happy to answer questions if people put them in the comments too.
thank you so much, Susan. All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening in. We shall see you on the next episode. Bye bye.